So these are the Asus ROG XREAL R1s, and I want to make it clear these are not a VR headset, which can confuse some people. These are gaming AR glasses. It's pretty much like having a massive 171-inch display in 240 Hz, but in micro OLED glasses. In the box you get the glasses, of course, and they come in this very nice carrying case which protects them. There's also a dock which is specifically designed to help you connect to nearly anything. There's nose pads for different fits so you can get it adjusted to how you like, and there's a prescription insert for those who need prescription glasses. When it comes to the spec of these things, honestly, it's downright impressive what they were able to fit in such a small, compact package. They feature micro OLED displays that can recreate a virtual 171-inch display at around 4 meters. They can go up to 240 Hz, which makes them perfect for fast-paced gaming. They have a 57-degree field of view. Each display has a 1920 by 1080 resolution and a 0.01 millisecond response time. And they can go up to 700 nits in brightness, which when I've been using them, honestly, it's actually impressive how bright they get. There's a rocker and 2 buttons on the right stem. They're all used to do different things and require single, double, or long presses to access various settings and functions. I won't go through all of the many options because there are so many different things, but it's really nice to be able to have so many different options to sort of change settings and customize the way you like. When it comes to the design of these things, of course, they're not like your regular pair of glasses. They are a bit bigger, a bit thicker, but again, I'm just impressed at how much they're able to fit in here. They have a very clean design as well, just all black finish. They do have a sort of gamery aesthetic, but they haven't gone overboard with the gamery aesthetic, thankfully. There isn't any sort of jagged edges or any sort of crazy designs. I feel like they kind of just look like a more modern set of glasses. There's also vertical adjustment on the stem, so you can move it up and down. You have 3 different settings, and of course you can change the nose pads to fit whatever you like. So yeah, they have lots of different options, and there's even RGB on the stems if that's what you're into, but if you're not, you can also turn them off in the settings. I also want to make clear that there is no battery in this thing. Again, I think a lot of people think they're like a VR headset where they kind of just power themselves, but that's not the case. They are powered via USB-C. There's an included cable. You connect it on one end and then you connect this into whatever device. So they're usually powered by the device that you're connecting them to. And from my experience, I've been able to connect them to nearly anything and everything. My MacBook, my iPhone, iPad, Steam Deck, PC. It works with pretty much everything. When you're using them, you can choose between 2 different sort of ways you use them. So there's follow mode, so when you're wearing them, the screen sort of follows you around. And then there's anchor mode. Anchor mode, as the name suggests, it anchors the display in one position. So when you move, the display doesn't move, it sort of stays where it is. But what's really smart is that when you are in anchor mode and you look away from the display, the tint on the glasses goes see-through, so you can see your surroundings, which I think is a really nice automatic feature to have. And unlike VR headsets, you still have a lot of peripheral vision. So when I have them on, I can still see my surroundings, I can still see my hands, no problem. So I can still use my phone if I want to. So say I'm watching a movie, playing a game, or whatever, I can pause it and then still look down on my phone if I need to. I actually think that's a benefit of something like this, being able to have your peripheral vision so that you can see what's going on around you. These lenses are electrochromic lenses, and what that basically means is that you can adjust the tint of them. So this is basically in the most see-through setting, but then you can completely black them out as well. I have found that I like to use them when they're completely blacked out, just so that I can focus on the display. But it's nice to be able to have the adjustable tint so that if you do want to see even more of your surroundings while still seeing the display, you can have that too. There's speakers built into them as well, sound by Bose, so it's nice to see that a premium audio manufacturer has helped tailor the audio experience. And honestly, I was so impressed by the audio. I just wasn't expecting the audio to be this good. They kind of have this almost like bone conducting effect. I think the only thing they're lacking though is bass. But when I'm playing games or watching videos, honestly, like these are good enough. Of course, they're not going to match a dedicated pair of headphones. If you want that premium listening experience, you should definitely get a dedicated pair of headphones. But if you don't have them, honestly, these are going to be fine for most people. I think the included dock is what makes these really powerful, because this dock essentially lets you connect to anything that doesn't have a USB-C port. Something like a games console, like a PlayStation, or a PC. If your PC doesn't have a USB-C port that can do DisplayPort, this will essentially replace that. It's an in-between. So on the back you have 2 USB-C ports. One of them is for powering, but it can also be powered by your PC or your device. There's also a DisplayPort, which is ideal for PC connectivity, and 2 HDMI ports. So there's a lot of options here. And then of course there's a USB-C port to actually connect the glasses. There's also buttons on the top to be able to adjust the settings, change things, and whatever else you want. I think this is a really, really nice accessory to have because it just opens up the capability of these glasses and being able to connect them to pretty much anything and everything. And they also support HDR10, so you're going to get the HDR experiences through the glasses too. Another pretty cool feature with these is the instant 3D. So once you turn the instant 3D on in the settings, it essentially turns anything you're watching into 3D. Because obviously you have two displays, so it can simulate 3D, even if the content you're watching wasn't originally made in 3D. And it works surprisingly well. Now, of course, not everything looks fantastic in 3D, but being able to sort of adjust it and have it turn on for whatever you like, it's just a nice feature to have. And the other benefit of the 3D feature is, of course, you just don't get that in your everyday sort of display experiences, right? When you're playing games on your TV or a monitor, or you're watching something on your phone or your iPad, you're not going to get a 3D experience. Being able to turn pretty much anything into 3D, that's a very unique feature. Out of the box, these do 120 Hz, which is going to be more than plenty for most people. But there is an option in the settings for frame rate boost, which can boost the frame rate up to 240 Hz. However, you do make some compromise on resolution, you do lack some sharpness, but I think for the people who want 240 Hz, I think that's a compromise that most people will be willing to make. Because if you're using the 240 Hz feature, you're most likely playing a very fast-paced game where resolution and sharpness probably isn't as important. If you're playing something like Overwatch, honestly, 240 Hz is actually a really good experience. It works surprisingly well. The biggest issue I've had with VR headsets is, of course, the weight of those things. They're quite big, quite bulky, and you can only wear them for maybe like half an hour before you feel the fatigue. That is not the case with these. I could easily wear these for hours, no problem. I'm not gonna get any fatigue or anything. I found myself using them for like 2 or 3 hours. And even after then, I kind of just took them off because I needed to do other things. I feel like I could have worn them for much longer if I wanted to. I also really like how bright the displays are. 700 nits in a small form factor like this, honestly, night and day difference compared to other displays that you use day to day. It's such a bright experience. And of course, when you're watching HDR content, it just has that punchiness. Having that brightness, yeah, it just makes a big difference. If you're planning to use these for productivity work, it's doable, but I don't think it's sharp enough. You can read the text and stuff. I had no issues sort of looking at spreadsheets and stuff like that, but I feel like it lacks that sort of 4K sharpness that I think a lot of people will be used to using high-end displays, using 4K displays, or using a laptop display. These really shine when it comes to gaming and watching stuff. That's the experience you're paying for with these. That's the best experience you're going to get out of these. That's what these are perfect for. If you need a portable display for gaming, watching stuff on the go, these are ideal. Where I've had the best experience with these is with my Steam Deck, because the issue with the Steam Deck is, of course, you've got to sort of hold it up sort of near your face to be able to see the display, to see the details and stuff. But when I have the glasses hooked up to them, I can just rest the Steam Deck on the desk, on my lap, on an armchair, whatever it is. I can just leave it down here whilst I have the glasses on my face. Because I'm now getting rid of the fatigue of holding them, I can play for much longer, and I have a much larger, much brighter display in front of me as well. It just enhances the experience of anything like this. Same with using an iPad or using an iPhone. If I'm connecting up my iPhone and I want to watch a YouTube video or a movie or whatever, instead of holding the iPhone close to my face like this, I can just have it resting in my hand on my lap or whatever, but use the display to actually view whatever I want to watch. It's one of those things which I just think makes a lot of sense. Another side benefit of these is that you get a completely private viewing experience. So whatever you're playing, whatever you're watching, no one can see what you're watching. So if you're watching stuff that you don't want other people to see, they can't see it. Like, unlike other displays where you sort of have to hide the display, or maybe you're watching something that you don't want other people to see. I feel like the best example is when you're watching a movie on a plane and they start doing the stuff on the screen, and you're just like, man, this is quite embarrassing. I hope no one else is watching my screen. On a flight, honestly, being able to have something like this and have that private viewing experience it's just so good. I think the other use case for a lot of people is maybe you don't have the space for an additional display in your home. Maybe you don't have the space for an additional desk setup in your home, but you want that big viewing experience. That's exactly what these are perfect for. Maybe also you just want to be able to sit on the couch in the living room. Maybe you have your partner next to you and she's watching the TV, and you want to be able to play games, but you want to sit next to each other. You can do that too. So I feel like it's a really good way to just have an external display. If you've ever considered something like this, honestly, I think it's definitely worth trying, because there really is nothing else like it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll leave links to everything down in the description below. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe for more.